Hi friends, this is Leanne from Creative Wings Art Shop, and I'm so happy to be here with you today as I roll out our next stay-at-home kit. This one we are calling our Everything Will Be All Right art piece. And you'll see as we get going in it, it has come from the global outpouring of rainbows and hearts that we have seen placed all over the world, really, as people try to inspire and brighten the feelings of everyone while we're dealing with this pandemic. So I'm so excited about this piece. I thought it would be a lot of fun. This project is perfect for adults or children, or adults and children together. So if you have little ones, I think that it would be a great one for you to do with them. Or if you're just at home and you need a little creativity in your day, it's perfect for you alone to do. What you will receive in the kit is this canvas, the words "Everything Will Be All Right." You will get a sponge brush, a little container with the paint that you'll be using, and then a plastic bag that will have a rainbow of different things inside of it. You will have papers, you will have cutouts of hearts in different colors, and then buttons. All bags will be different. Everybody will get different kinds of papers, different prints of things, but it will be enough for your piece. And what you need, or what you could use in addition to what comes in that kit, is your ever trusty tacky glue to kind of glue everything down. You'll need a Sharpie marker. You will, if you want to add an additional washi tape somewhere, you can bring that, and you will need a scissors. So these are some of the items that we're going to need. What I would recommend doing when you first start with your piece is to get your background painted, and then bring your attention to some of the papers. I'll show you kind of that process in just a second, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to first start by just taking my paint, which is in here, and it's a combination of white and yellow because the yellow that I had is a little too bright. I wanted it to be a little softer in color. I'm going to use my brush, and I'm just going to dip it right in there, and our idea is just to kind of get that paint on. And I don't mind if it is a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow in some spots. It doesn't have to be a perfect shade or a smooth shade. And we're going to go in and paint your whole entire canvas. And I'm just kind of, as I like to use the term, slopping that paint on. Just kind of cover your whole canvas with that yellow. I thought it would just be pretty as a backdrop for this piece. Like most of our classes, when you are painting your canvas, make sure you paint the edge of your canvas as well. That way we don't have to worry about framing it in the long run. And you can just put it on an easel or put it right on the wall as it is. This is a 10-inch by 10-inch canvas. And you're just kind of do just a very simple coat of paint on there. And I kind of like when there's a little bit of that white and separate from it. I like that there's some different shades in there. Okay, as soon as that is done, I'm going to kind of just do a little bit more here. We're going to let that dry a bit. And while it is drying, we're going to just kind of tend to the colors that we're going to use in our piece, okay? Okay, I think we have enough on there. That's all the painting we're going to be doing with this one right now. So I'm going to kind of cover this up. There's actually plenty in there for you to do another if you want to. And always have, I usually have a set of baby wipes with me just to kind of clean up and wipe up as I go. So let me kind of clean up any messes that I might have. I'm using just a little, kind of like a silicone mat, which is a really good surface. I think I bought these on Amazon for really an inexpensive amount, and I could cut it to my size. So if you have little ones at home and you don't want to get your tables messed up, this is a really great thing to kind of pick up. So I'm going to show you what I did with my bags, with my bag of goodies. When you receive it, what I would recommend doing is taking it, opening it up, taking it all out, and you're going to have different pieces of papers in all different colors. They're going to be a pretty good size like this. And what I want you to do is just randomly cut them. So this is something that you can do if you have kids. You can, with safety scissors, with the right scissors for them, you can kind of talk them through it and have them cut it. But let me show you what I did. I sorted out my colors for all of them, and I cut them in small pieces. They're maybe a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. So for example, if this is your red piece that you're working on, you're just going to cut randomly. And for those of my OCD friends, don't worry about it being a perfect square. Really, we don't want it to be. We want it to be kind of odd shaped for this piece. So you're just going to cut, and you're going to separate your colors, because this is going to help you in the long run. So the cutting will not be done in your kit. You will have squares such as this, but you will go ahead and cut. And then you're going to sort out all the other things. You're going to sort out your buttons. You're going to sort out your hearts that you receive, and you're going to kind of get them all lined up, because that will help you in the long run. Okay. All right. Okay. So one of the things, or two of the things that I forgot to mention that you will also need, or one more thing that you need and one more thing that will be in the kit. In your kit will be a heart that is already cut out for you. That's going to be our template for what we're going to put on the canvas. You will need a pencil then, of course, to transfer that template back, or to transfer that heart onto your canvas. So got my canvas back. It is still a little wet in a couple areas. I'm not worried about it. Those of you who may have watched the Yoga Girl video know that I lack patience, usually with art. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our heart template, we're going to place it in the center or wherever you want it. If you want to do it curved, if you want to do it off, however you want it. I'm going to do mine right in the center, and I'm going to outline my heart right on the canvas. So that's what I have my pencil for. So it doesn't have to be a perfect outline, but we kind of want to have some kind of guide to go by. And you can kind of figure out where we're going to be going with this based on this template. I kind of drew lines to kind of divide the colors for my heart. Okay, we've got 5 colors in our rainbow. We're going to do red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So I'm going to divide this as best as I can, and it doesn't have to be perfect. There may be not as much blue as I want, and as I get going, I can kind of adjust and just kind of correct the colors as I'd like. To kind of help me remember, I might put a little ROYGB, and that's something, if you have little ones that are doing this project, that you might want to do for them, so that they kind of know which color is going where, and so they don't forget. So from this part, or from this point on, I'm going to kind of slide my piece of paper with all my little colors broken down back on here, and I am going to start to glue these different things into my heart. Okay, so what I would recommend when starting this process, there's 2 different ways that you can kind of tackle gluing all of this down. So I'll kind of show you both ways, and I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. I'll just kind of see what I feel like doing as I'm into it. You can take a paper plate. Let me just see if I can put this and just do a nice big glob of glue right into it. And then as you are just kind of adding your papers, you can just have, just dip it right into that paint a little bit, or into that glue, and just stick them down. So we want to try and stay as true to the shape of our heart as we can. But we've got a bunch of different kind of papers that we can choose from. And we want to really fill this up. Start with the papers first. I would kind of go through all of them and add them in there before I start using any of the buttons. The buttons are kind of like a filler on top. So I'm going to move that out of the way so you can see. And it's going to get messy. So have either a baby wipe or a wet paper towel by your side so that you can go ahead and just kind of clean up as you're going. And you can find that sometimes in some areas of your heart, you may be running out of, or you might need to cut your pieces so that they're a little bit smaller so that they fit your shape a little better. Go right ahead and do that. So I'm going to go and continue to work on this with the red. I'm trying to not put the same papers next to each other. I'm trying to kind of alternate my papers a bit. Oops. Oh Lord, I'm making a mess. And we're just going to fill up this whole entire piece. You can use that wet paper towel or that baby wipe to kind of help put your papers down as you're going. And then cut any pieces that you may need to fit any of the odd shaped areas. And it's okay if you have a little bit of the yellow or the background of your canvas exposed, because we can kind of fill those in with buttons. If you take classes at the shop with me, you know that I absolutely have an obsession with buttons. So I love to incorporate them into art when we can. You know, I want to make sure that this looks like a heart. So at this point, I'm going to be a little bit more careful how I'm gluing to make sure that I get that V in the center and keep that shape of the heart as much as I can. I've used a couple of the heart punches throughout it, but now I'm going to kind of where I think my red is getting kind of done. I'm going to be a little bit more careful and be a little bit more purposeful in my placement of a couple of those heart punches so that they really stick out. And then I'm going to add a couple of my buttons. For my buttons, I'm going to actually put the glue right on the canvas where I want that button to go. So I'm dealing with multiple textures here of both the paper and the buttons, which I think is always fun and interesting. And you've got a big selection, a variety of buttons. So that makes it look really fun too. A variety of sizes, of textures is always a cool thing when it comes to mixed media art. Okay, so you can kind of get the idea with the red. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this regular speed of recording and I'm going to fast forward it a little bit as I go on to the rest of the colors because it gets kind of the same process and it's probably boring for you just to sit there watching me glue. But I'll speed it up a bit so you can kind of see as I'm working through it what I am doing, okay? And just continue to watch these different layers and pushing them down as you see some of the papers coming up from them. Just kind of work with them and continue to push them down. And I will be back after all of the colors are done, okay? Okay, so couple of things that I determined as I was going through this first layer. I think it's easier if you apply the glue in those sections and then add the papers in those sections, and then do the buttons on top. That's kind of what I thought worked a little bit easier. I also, in my review of it and in looking at it, I think it's too yellow, my background. So I'm going to actually take some of the white paint. And when I send the paint out, I'll kind of give you guys more white in it. So you probably won't have to do this, or you won't have to do this for sure. But I'm going to just grab some of my yellow, and I just want to kind of tone down that background because I don't want it to be competing with the yellow that is on my heart. I just want it to be a little bit softer. So just so you can kind of understand what I'm doing with that. We are done with our buttons, and there's actually enough that you could probably do another piece like this if you got a canvas. So feel free. I do also have some of these clear buttons though. Every kit will have a few of these, and I think those might be nice to kind of bring some continuity to all of the colors. So I'm actually going to just go and just put a few of those throughout each of the different colors. I like that idea. It kind of pulls all of the buttons together, and it kind of works for me visually when I'm looking at it. So I'm going to do that last step. I'm going to do a little more white in my background, and then we will keep going. So let me just see where else I might want this one. Maybe down here. And maybe up here. Okay, so I kind of like that placement just randomly. Now I'm going to kind of move this out of the way. I'm done with all of those buttons or all of this. That's a lot that's left, so you definitely could do another heart, just so you know, okay? Let's see where we're at. Make sure we can see everything here. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit more of the white and just kind of tone down my color a little bit in the background. And it kind of adds to just a little distressing of that canvas. And I'm doing that with a makeup sponge, which I will include in your kit as well. Okay. Okay. And I kind of like also just putting a little bit of that white kind of in here too. That kind of works for me. Okay, so that piece is done. I'm going to put my lid on my paint again. Now, last couple steps. One of the things that I want to do is kind of outline this heart, and I'm going to do it with a thick Sharpie, and it doesn't have to be a clear outline. I kind of like it being very sketchy and rough, okay? And I just did what I always tell everybody in my classes not to do. I just put the Sharpie through a big glob of glue down here. And what do we know that happens to Sharpies when we put them in glue? They stop working, Leanne. So let me try and find another Sharpie, and I'm gonna, oh, here we go. And try and learn from my own lesson not to do that. So I'm just doing a really rough outline, and I just kind of like that, okay? There we go. Okay, another thing that we can do, if you have ink, you can ink the edge of your canvas, which is something that I always tend to do. If you don't have ink, you could probably take your Sharpie and do it as well with that. Just kind of take your Sharpie and go along the edge of your canvas like that. That kind of just adds a framed look to it. I'm going to do the rest with my ink pad. Okay, and our final step is going to be to add our words. Everyone has in their kit the words "everything will be all right." So I'm going to cut these out. I like to do them separated so that I'm not doing them all together. And I like to cut some of them on a slant. And you just want to place them anywhere that you think would kind of work. My buttons, I kind of goofed up myself in my placement of them because of my buttons. When you cut out your words, for those friends who know me well, know that I like to cut the white paper as close to the letters as possible so that I'm not taking up too much space on the canvas with this white paper. I like to keep it kind of tight. Okay. And I also think that these words will need a little inking or a little Sharpie work. And I just kind of want to figure out how I want them placed. I kind of like that. That works for me. Okay, so once I have them down, you can Sharpie them a couple different ways. You can just take your marker again and just do a thin line. And you might think, well, what is that going to do? But I will show you, because even that small line is going to help it stand out, okay? You can also take your ink pad if you have one. And you can ink them this way. Oops, and I just happened to make a big old ink smudge, but that's okay. All right. And why is that okay? Because everything will be all right. So once I have it all inked, then I'm going to glue. And there you have it, friends. Everything will be all right. Picking up any leftover glue. Okay, and that's it. So you can feel free to sign your piece when you are done. And this will kind of remind us of everything that we're going through right now. Oops. There is our rainbow heart. I really hope that you enjoyed the project. And I hope that you will share your finished piece. Again, the kits are available on our Etsy shop, which you can access from our website, which is www.creativewaynesartshop.com. There is a tab on our art shop website that says Etsy shop. And if you click to that, you can find the kit for this. So feel free to pick one up today or or show us the picture that you have made from your Everything Will Be All Right piece. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you well, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.